everybody. Welcome to the Sharon and Joe Show. My name is Sharon.
Hi guys, my name is Joe.
So I actually have Joe here with us tonight. Well, today, I guess, since it's Monday morning for you guys. Joe, it's been a while since you've been on the show.
Yes, I've been busy, very busy. That's about it. I can't explain any other way. I was busy, working a lot.
Yeah, I was telling everybody that you were working. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I'm finally coming back to life. The winter was really tough, man. When in our neck of the woods, it's dark when you wake up and it's dark when you get home. Sharon and I were actually talking about one day maybe moving somewhere where the winters aren't as bad as they are up here in Northeast. But yeah, landscaping season started and I'm working full time selling insurance by day and working on a house at night and then doing landscaping on the weekends. So
It's crazy how much Joe works. But if you're in the market for auto insurance, hit us up for sure. Joe's the guy you're going to want. So Joe, before we get into today's video, I thought we would talk a little bit about the giveaway.
yeah, I wanted you to mention it. Let's mention it. Let's see what's going on.
All right, so we're doing a giveaway for the Sharon and Joe Show. It's I think I mentioned that my daughter actually drew the logo, so it's like special to us that my daughter drew the logo. And some of you know her, my daughter Paris. She's been on the show a few times on the Saving Hearts part of the show. So she did the logo, and so we're just doing a little giveaway. This is actually for 5,000 subscribers, even though it's more than that now. It took a while to get this going. So we have three prizes. So first prize is going to be a t-shirt, and you get to choose the size and color. I have a picture of a gray one that I actually bought, but you can choose your size and color. So a t-shirt, a sticker, a magnet, and pens that I love. I love these tool pens. My daughter and I always say that we're like pen snobs. We love these pens. And Joe hates them because they're like metallic.
Well, they are fancy. They like got that runny ink to them. But
they don't have runny ink.
Well, they're not runny ink, but I mean, it's like a wetness to it. And I like the Bic. Just, hey, man. I mean, because when I leave it down too long on the paper, it like smudges and it starts to look. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
You know what? Joe would never pay like $8.49 for 4 pens.
I'm a Walmart guy, you guys. So it's like 30 cents at best.
Well, these are good pens, so you will like them. If whoever wins, tell us. Is it me or Joe that's right about these pens? Second prize is going to be a sticker or magnet, and third prize is a sticker. So if you would like to enter, this is going to be the plan. We're going to, next week on the Sharon and Joe Show, hopefully Joe will be with me, but he'll at least be on long enough to draw the names.
Sure.
So we will announce it a week from Monday. So typically we do videos on Saturday night. So if you want to be entered, there's 2 ways to enter it. Just let me know under the video that you want to be entered. Also, Joe and this is actually an Instagram giveaway, not a YouTube giveaway. I'm trying to grow our Instagram page, so we don't have a lot of subscribers on it. So go ahead to Sharon and Joe Show, and if you subscribe to the Instagram, and I'll put the link underneath. If you subscribe to that, you'll automatically be entered. So that's the giveaway.
Yep, that's it.
So make sure you enter. All right, so for tonight's video, I was thinking about talking about the kids. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. We could do a little bit of catch up on what things, are happening. It's the end of the school year. So for them, so that's exciting. I know your daughter graduated.
Yes, Paris graduated last week. She homeschooled, so I got to tell her, and I told Joe beforehand, I was like, Joe, I'm going to tell Paris that she's graduated. And so she's so excited. So if you check out the community page, I have a picture of Paris. So you can go ahead and see what she looks like. And I was really excited for her. She's super happy.
Yeah, she's a good kid, man. She's really smart too, you guys. She didn't miss a beat, like with what's happened this last year, with the move here, with everything that's happened underneath Sharon's roof, under narcissistic abuse and post-traumatic stress disorder and stuff. She held her own, man. She's very mature for her age.
Paris is amazing, and I know she's my daughter, so I'm sure a lot of you will say, yeah. But
no, she's amazing.
Yeah, she's really good. She's a motivated woman, and she is a hard worker. She did fantastic in school. Like, I do about half her classes with her. She also does some online classes. She did physics online this year, and I don't even tell you this, Joe. Her average for the whole year was 99 for physics.
And she's not even a physics major. She's a writer. She's got actually a couple of books.
Yep.
And a couple, you guys, that's in the process of being edited. and to be released. I think the first one at the end of August was her goal. But
Yeah.
yeah, she's one of those chickies that she goes for a walk every day. She's always happy. She's working like she's a hustler. It's just, it's good for Sharon and I. It really is.
Oh, it's fantastic. I tell her all the time. I was like, I wish I was like you when I was your age. But yeah, she's going to do well. And my youngest, he is going into his junior year of high school. He's doing well too. Not that I'm just talking about my daughter. She just is. There's something about her, like she is ready to go. And then she just graduated high school. My son is more along the lines of, he is good in school, he does, but he's along the lines of do as little as possible. He's, that, is that bad? Did I say that?
No, he's a typical teenage kid, but he's very like mathematically like inclined with his hands, kind of like engineer, mechanical kind of stuff, like construction, putting things together. So I could already see his talents unfolding, which is really cool because I'm up there in age, and he's doing stuff that I just don't have the patience and never took the time to learn. And he's just picking it up just like that. He's actually doing it for me, some of the stuff.
I was so proud of him recently. When was this? Like a month, 2 months ago. We had an issue in the bathroom where the towel racks weren't up, and Joe was like just discouraged by that, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I told my son, sorry, I try not to use his name. My daughter doesn't care. She's been on the channel. My son does. So I try not, hopefully I won't say his name, but, so I said to him, like, why don't you, maybe you could put these towel racks up for Joe. Cause the thing is, like, being a single mom, like before I got together with Joe, I was a single mom for over a year, and my son was the man of the house. So he was good at doing everything. He fixed the kitchen sink for me. He's just like good at like figuring these things out. So he put the towel racks up for Joe, and Joe was working, and I was so excited. It was like I had put the towel racks up.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to show you.
Well, like I've been a single dad for almost 2 years, and then before this, when my sons were 4 and 1, I had custody of them. So like when you get home from working all day and working 2 jobs, to see something like that done, so I don't have to mess around with the level and the drilling, and you lose your patience with that stuff, and then before you know it, there's all kinds of stuff that needs to be fixed around the house. So it was really, really awesome.
So why don't we talk a little bit about your kids? So Joe also has 2 children.
Yeah, my youngest is going to be a senior this year in school. He just got through his junior year. I'm really proud of him. He's another one that like stepped up to the plate. But I told you guys, like I struggled for about a good 9 months probably out of the last 2 years, and it seemed like my attitude, like it rubbed off on him, like where I was kind of discouraged and upset. And as much as I tried to hide it and smile and not let him know, like, oh my God, I'm going to get behind on the mortgage, and just struggling. But the last probably month or two, I've really stepped out of it, where I'm back into action again. And it's funny how that rubs off on him. He's getting good grades. He has above a 3.0 in spite of his mother being missing for 2 years. He's doing well. He's looking at maybe going into the military, ROTC maybe, then the military, but he's really into camaraderie, and he wants to do something with himself. He does landscaping with me on the weekends, and during the week, he works with my sponsor. You guys, if you know anything about me, I'm in recovery. I got sober when I was about 25 years old, towards the end of that year. So Johnny's doing good. I'm really proud of him. I always let him know that. My older one, though, you guys, he's struggling a little bit. We butt heads, not verbally or physically, just he reminds me a lot of myself when I was his age. And I grew up in a narcissistic home where my mother was an alcoholic. My father had left when we were young, and I was lost for a long time. I was very selfish and self-centered, and that led to alcoholism and drug addiction. So he's been struggling with that. He's supposed to be moving to Florida with his aunt and uncle soon. He was living with us for a while, but there's some rules that he broke, and he knew it. We didn't argue or anything like that. So, I'm in a recovery program, and I've taken him to a few meetings. The seed's been planted. Now it's up to him and God, and if and when he's ready, I'll be here for him, and he knows that.
So all in all, our kids are doing pretty good. A little rough around the edges here and there, but it's been difficult for the 4 of them having the other parent gone. So, Joe, you want to talk a little bit about that, and then we can talk about how they are like with us.
Well, I think, my youngest one got to the point where, he knows that there's something not normal with his mom. My ex not only is a narcissist to the higher end spectrum, like a malignant one, but she's also a heroin addict and drug addict. And, these last 2 years, she hasn't been around much. I've had both my children. And, when it came to John needs his wisdom teeth pulled, my younger one, and, the tax return they were supposed to get that, she filed. It was just a bunch of nonsense for his birthday. It was just, he has enough respect for himself to understand, like, and we've talked about it, like, if his mother wants to be in his life, then she has to have changed. Like, there has to be some kind of a living amends to understand, like, wow, I really screwed stuff up. Here are the things that I've done wrong, and here's what I'm doing to fix it so I don't ever do that again. I love you no matter what, kind of stuff. But he realizes that right now, to him, she hasn't changed yet, and there's never, like, he doesn't have expectations, but, there's always miracles, I guess. But for this little guy and his understanding, he's like, okay, I'm not going to stoop to a level after she stole from us. She left, him and his brother high and dry. He just has enough respect for himself to say, if she wants to change and prove that she has, then I'll be around. Other than that, just stay away,
It's kind of like, well, my kids, I guess, are similar, but a little bit different towards the end of this. They don't want anything to do with their father at all, neither of them. And I respect that, in some ways. And I know, I don't know, maybe this sounds bad, but I think it's better in a lot of ways that my ex is as good as dead, because, like, your youngest, and he's the sweetest, guys, you would love him, but he has that hope. You know what I mean? Like, my kids don't have that hope.
He did have it, and there was a couple times where he'd get let down.
Yeah.
Like, it was his birthday one time, and his mom called him and wanted to do something. He didn't hear for a couple weeks, and then she took him out to get some freaking bagel sandwich or something. He thought he was going to get a gift from his mom, and it was just something to open. It could have been the tiniest box in the world, and he didn't. But yeah, he's got a good heart, you guys, and he's a little bit of a follower, but not really. Like, I got to kind of keep a tight rope on him. He's 17 years old. When his friends go out, I kind of, make sure, hey, no drinking, no smoking pots, good decisions. And he is. But I think after a while, he kind of came to the understanding of, you know what, don't call me, don't talk to me, you know what I mean? Like, the phone that he has right now, his little cell phone, you got that for him, not his mom. There's a lot of things he's starting to grow up and realize. And it's not a hatred. I've told him, like, hatred, like resentment, I taught him, like, rots the container it sits in. And the only person that it harms is him. And I think with the older one, like, his drinking and drug use, I remember when I was at that age, I drank alcohol and knowing that it was poison, but I drank it to kill the people I was resentful at, my mom, my dad, like, all these people, and I was just destroying myself. I suffered from terminal uniqueness, like, nobody understood. But there are a lot of people out there that understand, and I've come to realize about codependency. The cool part with my younger one, and even my older one, whether he sinks in or not, is with Sharon coming here, they've got to see a different way that things should be, that things could be, before he leaves the nest. Like, he knows that there's a different way. He got to see a different side. And that's all I ask God to do. Like, I don't usually ask God for much. I always try to keep the mentality of what can I do for him, not what can he do for me. But, like, for my oldest son, taking him to some meetings in our recovery group, it planted a seed for him. And then this seed of family and love and support and growth and struggle together and fight together, like, they planted a seed in John too.
Well, I think, for all the kids, I mean, your oldest a little bit different only because he hasn't lived here like the whole time.
Yeah.
but I think that they're doing pretty well, like overall. Like I really do. Like maybe it's the age, like because Joe and I, this was part of us wanting to live together, because our kids are roughly the same age. They're all older. Well, my son is a little bit younger, but
Yeah.
we wanted them to have a family before they went out on their own.
Or experience something that, what is a relationship? What is it supposed to be like, really? Because there was a time where both my sons like, I'm never getting married, I'm not this and that. And I try to tell them like, that's okay, that's a personal decision, but it's not like this. They only saw the abnormal part to an extreme. Like when you're dealing with narcissism, abuse, like that mixed with the codependency is like gas and oil. They saw like an F5 tornado,
Yeah.
and that's all they knew about a relationship.
So let's talk about how the kids do, like with us together, right? Like my kids are doing really well. Like they both love Joe. He is like, they both, particularly my daughter, and I think she kind of benefits in some ways because she's the only girl. So she, you know what I mean? Like in some ways, like she gets a little spoiled like that.
Yeah.
But
Well, I always wanted a daughter, so it was just like, it's really cool. And I majored in English and journalism in school, and Paris is a writer, and so it's like we have that in common. Plus, I kind of got a predisposition because I always wanted to have a girl, a daughter. So that's really cool. But yeah, we get along. Johnny, my youngest, loves Sharon. She's been so kind to him, and he knows that, and he's very grateful for that. And I think Luke, Sharon's cool. Sharon's cool. She's really nice, and that's cool. You know what I mean?
well, Luke actually, I had this like one moment with him where it was actually a bad moment, but he was so sweet. One of the sugar gliders died, and I had to go to work that morning. Joe was asleep, and I was sitting on the couch. He probably walked by and was like, "What is this woman doing?" Because I was sitting on the couch, and I had like if I cry for days, I cannot cry. If I cry, my eyes look terrible for days. They like swell up. You can tell I cried like 3 days ago. Like it's horrible. So I didn't want to go to work because I'm like, oh my God, I look terrible. Like I'm crying, which I was. So I was sitting there on the couch with like this ice pack on my eyes. And so he walks by and he's like, "Oh, did you hurt your eye? Is something wrong?" And so I was like, "Oh no." So I told him about the sugar gliders. And he was so sweet. Like he sat with me and talked to me for a few minutes. And then he was like, "Maybe you could have some Advil." I mean, it was like a sweet moment. He's very sweet. Both the Joe's boys are incredibly sweet. Like, they really are.
Yeah, the older one is just angry, and he's always been quiet. It's funny, like, he grew up and experienced it all, like, with his mother being in treatment, me having custody of him when he was just 4 years old. He's been through some stuff, not like I was, and I always remind him that, like, hey, listen, man, like, you got a stable parent here who loves you. It's not like we're living on the street in a cardboard box, which I did for an entire year in a whole different city and state, but just just very angry, trying to find himself, a little bit lost. He has possibly that gene that I had with the alcoholism, plus some really stupid, immature decisions that we made, of course, but yeah.
Well, I think his problem, not his problem, but I think an issue that he has outside of the other three is his age, because he's that much older,
Yeah, he's 21.
So like because of that, he experienced more of it longer. The other three, like in a lot of ways, it's horrible in some ways, like that when we're talking about 4 kids, they really only have one parent. I mean, it's a tragedy in a lot of ways, but at the same time, it's what they're used to. It's what they know. And because they didn't have the other parent there from a younger age, it just, you know what I'm saying? It's more of what they're used to. But for your older one, he had that throughout his entire childhood.
Yeah, he did. And there was a lot that I had to work through, a lot of guilt, a lot of toxic guilt towards myself. And, when the kids were 4 and 1, I had temporary custody. I could have gotten full custody of them. And my dumbass codependency, like, I went back, let's do it again. This time it will be different. But, at the same time, I got to go easy on myself too,
But you know what else? Like even saying that, and I get what you're saying. I think all of us have guilt to a degree, but say that happened, you had the kids and you divorced her then or never got married, whatever the case was, she would have eventually, she wouldn't have went away. Like, she still would have been part of their life. And then they would have been at her place where you had no say in anything that happened.
Yeah. So, it is what it is. We're all here. You got to go through whatever you got to go through, to get to this point. And I'm glad because, we hear all the thrivers and the survivors out there. And I had told Sharon this one evening. I was like, how about the ones that we don't hear from, that never have a voice because they either took their lives or fell into addiction or something really bad happened to them. It's only for the grace of God that I'm here today because I was very close to dying in a physical, spiritual, emotional, every way possible. I was right there.
Joe used to tell me that when our relationship was mainly on the phone, and it wasn't until I really got here that I understood, like, he's not joking. Narcissistic abuse can level you. It just, the weird thing about narcissism is the narcissist is the sick one, but we are the ones that have the symptoms. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, they have them too. I guess what I'm trying to say is we're the ones that need therapy yeah, exactly.
It seems like we're the punching bags of it, and then you have, I think I was spiritually sick still. There was issues that I didn't deal with from my own childhood. This is where I learned about codependency, not just the word to say it, but like really dig deep to connect the dots to say, holy crap, But that's the one thing is like, if I was ever that destructive, I'd go crawl under a rock and be away from people. I wouldn't try to harm and hurt other people. There's just no excuse for it. Somebody mentioned to you like last week or something like, well, you shouldn't feel that way because they're mentally and there's no excuse for being an asshole. They know what they're doing. You know what I mean? They know that they're causing harm. I mean, you might as well say a serial killer. You might as well say that they're innocent. It's not their fault. I mean, what the hell? At what point do you draw the line?
I'd actually mentioned that in the video, exactly that. When I had said that if you're going to feel bad for a narcissist, you could make an argument that a serial killer, like, they don't know what they're doing. It's not their fault. And you'd be right to a degree. But a narcissist, they know what they're doing, just like a serial killer, because they hide it. They lie to you.
They're legally sane. I mean, it's not like somebody that suffers from schizophrenia or something that's so like where they don't know, or Tourette syndrome and they're cussing out everybody. That's so bad, you guys. Not everybody has Tourette's to do that, but you get the drift. Like, they drift, like narcissists drift in and out of consciousness just like we do. Many times, though, they know exactly what they're doing, which is why they try to cover it up and lie. It's just, the only thing is, like, for me, it all started, like, my healing started with no contact. There was a self-worth issue that I had, and had this God-shaped hole inside. I tried to fill it with alcohol and drugs and money and my business and work and working out, but the only thing that could fill it was God, and when I stayed away and had no contact, that's when I started to get my dignity back. Like, I've done a lot of rotten crap in my lifetime before I was 26 years old, and I made a lot of mistakes afterwards too. But for me to like tell myself that person, or if you want to call it that person, they don't have the right to be in the same room and breathe the same air as me, that's pretty flipping low. That's really low,
Oh, 100%. And, and the thing is, Joe did that first. He was the one, he went no contact first, and I didn't do that initially. Not that I was really talking to my ex at all, but I wasn't like he is. Like, literally, no matter what she says, and there's been things she said that I don't know that I would have been able to not say something to. She would say anything, and Joe would just not respond at all. And I started doing that recently with my ex, and it is such a good feeling. It really is. Like I will never. It's not just that I don't want to speak to him again. Like, I have something coming up on June 6th where it's like a Zoom meeting, thank God, where he's going to be there. And I told Joe, like, I am not going to look at his direction. Like, I'm not going to look at him. I'm not going to give him the satisfaction. I'm never going to look at him again. I'm never going to speak to him. And Joe was like, well, if for some reason you have to respond or whatever, just be very, exactly, gray rock.
Just whatever. And they know that the only reason why you have to is because you have to in front of a judge. But yeah, these people are, at least the one that I was with, if you call it a person, what's a thug? Like a straight out, like, punk. A straight, like, thank God she's female, because if it was a male, I would have never taken that. Like, somebody stealing money from my kids and literally taking food off the freaking table and stealing money from them, their savings. Like, if that was a dude, like, I'd probably be in prison.
There's no excuse for it, and you and I and a lot of you guys, like, we're living the consequences of their actions. But for Joe and I, we're trying to make something happen. We're trying to piece things together and raise our kids right.
The city was leveled. Out of that, though, rising from the ashes are us and our children, and we're rebuilding right now. Like, the fact of the matter is we're busting our ass to rebuild. But I'll tell you what, like, I've been working every day from dusk till dawn. It beats, like, that feeling of just not wanting to live. Like, there's no hope. And I don't know the formula to it. I just know that at some point it's got to run the gamut. Like I explained to you last week, like, it's like when you get poison ivy, even if you treat the poison ivy and you're doing everything right, it's still going to spread. It's in your bloodstream. It may not spread as fast or bad, but it's got to run its course. And the only thing you could do is hang on. And that Shakespeare saying, "This too shall pass." You just got to white knuckle it sometimes. Of course, like, you can pray for potatoes all you want, but if you don't pick up the tools and the hoe and dig and water, there's certain things that you have to do, but that's it. And then the rest is just hold on for dear life and bitch and complain and moan, but do something, even if it's wrong.
It does get better, you guys. I mean, Joe and I are proof of that. It really does. It can be better for everybody, because the reality is when you're with the narcissist, that's when it's really bad. And the recovery, it hurts. It's hard, but it's almost like it's over at that point. It's the healing,
Yeah. For me, even when I realized that the narcissist was just one part of the problem, when that narcissist was out of my life, I was still miserable. Like, I had to look at the codependency. I did all that, the shadow work, the inventory, the insight, what was my part, all of that. And I did it. And it just, whenever you're ready, like whenever God says you're ready, that's when it happens, man. But I guess the sad part is that, and as I said, it was nothing but grace. It wasn't any courage on my end that got me through it. But a lot of people, they don't wait. They give up before the miracle happens. And I don't blame them. I'm not judging them. But that's sad, because I can see how they would. Like, the pain is so great. You're dealing with multifaceted layers of dimension, like peeling back onion layers, the narcissist, your family, your parents, your part. Like, man, look at how many years we had to study it to kind of accept that that's what they are. Then that's just scratching the surface. What about us?
Yeah, there's a lot of work to do, but it's so worth it in the end, because there comes a time, you don't know when it is. It could be tomorrow. There comes a time when it is noticeably better. You're on, like, you're on the backside. It's okay. It's going to be all right.
I remember there's so many times where I tell Sharon, like, I had an okay day. Like, I would sigh so many times during the day, like I was holding my breath. I suffered from hypervigilance, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Like, I woke up and I was just so sad and so depressed, and it was just like, why did I have to wake up? That was bad, And then, like, some time passes, and it's like those okay days kind of get in a row. It's like moving this gigantic boulder, and it's just sitting still, and you're putting in so much effort just to breathe and live, let alone put some ass into that boulder to try to get it to move. But once it does, like, that energy creates more energy, and you get back to where you were before, and you surpass that because of the wisdom and the understanding that you have.
I'm with you. I mean, I experienced it too. Not as bad as Joe, but I did experience that moment when it was bad and then it got better. And it just it's like a whirlwind.
And kind of to do like a 360 to bring it back around with the kids, I've noticed that as we get better and do better, it's like it rubs off on them.
Yeah.
And then they feed us with positive energy, and then we feed them. And then it's just the momentum. It's like you keep going and you become acclimated to the work and the days being longer, but you also are grateful that, okay, I'm not where I was before. I wanted to die, so I'll work 80 hours a week if I have to. But it starts gaining momentum, and the family unit, your kids, you just start moving forward as a unit, as a group. Like if you were in the military and you were on a team, SEALs team or whatever, it's like you're moving together as one.
Just I'll say this too, because we hadn't really mentioned this. Our kids actually get along really well too, and it reminded me, like, there's like these little moments where Joe and I will just like look at each other. Like recently, your son came home and he had like food, and he was like, "Oh, I have this for Paris and her brother," and remember like that, and we were like, it was so sweet. And like Paris told me, I didn't even tell you this, Joe. She goes for this walk every day, and she went for a walk, and we live near like the high school. And she saw, I don't know what John was doing. Maybe he was at gym class or something, but he was with a bunch of guys like running down the street. And she's like, "Oh, and John saw me and he waved and said hi." Like, it was so sweet. Like, I just thought that was sweet. So they do get along really well. They get along with his older son too, just he's not here as often. But yeah, everything is good. I mean, it really is.
It's going, you know what, like, I don't like extreme highs and I don't like extreme lows. That in between, like being okay, is so underrated. Like being okay is like great. It's like awesome,
Yeah, see, I'm different than that with Joe. I like being way up there.
Well, Sharon's attitude, like that's part of the reason why she created her channel. I think God used you for that. Is like you're more like of a leader, and you definitely walk the walk. Like you're definitely you do it, man. And it's part of your personality. I know it was a lot of hard work, but we have a different personality, but definitely, like, I feed off of that too. Like, it would suck to be around somebody that was just always like humdrum. What's the name of that donkey in Winnie the Pooh? Eeyore. You know what I mean? Just like even in my darkest days, Sharon would come home. She'd be getting flowers for the house, and she would struggle only because she didn't want to see me in so much pain. This is after like a year and a half of no contact. This is pretty much 2 years now. But having that around, like, it brought me up. Kind of, yeah, it definitely helped.
It's good, to know other people that have suffered the same. Like, you can relate. Like when Joe would have a bad day, I could relate to him. I knew what it was. And I said to Joe many times, if I hadn't seen you like that, or if I didn't have the experience myself, I don't think I could understand. So it's beneficial, like to communicate with each other through the channel, or knowing somebody who has experienced this as well. It really does make a huge difference. Like, 'cause I can talk to Joe, I can tell him, like, when I'm talking about things with a divorce, he knows, he gets it. And it's not just he's getting a divorce, it's that he's getting a divorce from something similar. So he knows, like, he has helped me tremendously when it comes to no contact. And I mentioned in a video recently, there has been, now my ex doesn't know this, but there hasn't been an email or text that Joe hasn't written for, I think it was last summer when I wrote was it a text? I wrote a text to my ex, and I was so proud of this text. And I told Joe, I was like, "Oh, Joe, so I sent a text to so-and-so." And I'm like, this is what I said. Like, I was waiting for Joe to say, "Wow, like, aren't you wonderful?" And instead, do you remember what you said?
Yeah, so you're kidding, right? I was pretty upset. Not because it's none of my business. Like, I'm not like controlling, but I was thinking, like, okay, no contact, like. It just, I was just, so in a nutshell, we hold each other accountable. Also, like, when we fall away from prayer, we get so busy we forget about who saved us, and like, sometimes I get caught up in the past, like with the work that I do around the house and this and that, and you remind me, yes, but we're doing it for the future. We just hold each other accountable and we help each other become the best we could be.
Yeah, I would agree. And that's probably a good place to end it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
So you guys, you won't know this, but this is like a miracle right now. We've done this video in one take. That never happens. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I think that we better cut it before you change your mind.
All right, so do not forget to enter the giveaway. So what we'll do is Joe will hopefully be here with me next week. If not, he'll at least be on long enough to you can draw the names. We'll have like a little hat or something. You can draw the names.
So the Instagram link is below. So if you guys link onto it and subscribe, then you're automatically in.
Yep. Awesome. So good luck to everybody, and I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and I guess that's it. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.